I have to tell you this, but before I start, I need you to understand that I can no longer look up at the night sky. The very thought of it sends a chill down my spine, a cold, creeping dread that I can't shake. This all happened 2 years ago, something I've tried to bury deep, but it always finds a way to resurface, especially in the dead of night. It was during a routine work trip. My job often takes me to some of the most remote, untouched parts of the country, places where civilization feels like a distant dream. This time, I was in a vast wilderness area far south of the kingdom. The work was done, and I was finally heading back to the city, back to my life. I remember leaving much later than I'd planned. By the time my old, reliable sedan hit the main road, it was well past 1 in the morning. The road was a single ribbon of asphalt cutting through an ocean of darkness. It was completely, utterly empty. I hadn't seen another car for over an hour. The kind of dark where you feel like you're not driving on Earth anymore, but floating in the black void of space. The only anchor to reality was the steady hum of my engine and the 2 cones of light from my headlights carving a path ahead. The silence out there was profound, not just quiet, but a heavy, pressing silence that seemed to swallow all sound. All you could hear was the engine, a monotonous drone that could lull you to sleep if you weren't careful. I had the radio off. Reception was non-existent anyway. It was just me, my thoughts, and the endless road. And then, I heard it. It wasn't a loud noise. It was more like a disruption in the silence. A very faint, almost imperceptible sound. A light tapping on the roof of my car. Tap, tap, tap. I initially dismissed it. My mind immediately went to the most logical explanation. Small stones or bits of gravel being kicked up by my tires and bouncing off the metal. It happens. Nothing to worry about. So I kept driving, my eyes fixed on the hypnotizing white lines of the road. But the sound didn't stop. In fact, it started to get clearer, more distinct. It wasn't the random, sporadic pattern of flying gravel. This was rhythmic, a steady, deliberate tapping. My heart began to beat a little faster. I turned the music on, then off again, trying to isolate the source. It was definitely coming from directly above me. The sound intensified. It morphed from a light tapping into a heavier, dragging noise. It sounded like something substantial, something with weight, was slowly crawling across the roof of my car. A shiver ran down my entire body. I was terrified to look up, to even glance towards the ceiling. My eyes darted to the rearview mirror, my breath held tight in my chest. I saw nothing. The road behind me was as black and empty as the road ahead. Panic started to set in. My knuckles turned white as I gripped the steering wheel. My logical mind was racing, trying to find a rational explanation. A large bird? A branch falling from a tree? But there were no trees this close to the road. And what kind of bird would be out at this hour, crawling on a moving car? I pressed my foot down on the accelerator. The engine roared in protest as the car lurched forward. I just wanted to get away, to outrun whatever this was. But as my speed increased, the sound got louder, more frantic. The scraping and dragging noise grew more aggressive, as if it was laughing at my pathetic attempt to escape. It was keeping pace with me, clinging to my car like a malevolent parasite. That's when I saw it. A reflection on the upper edge of my windshield. It wasn't clear, more of a distortion in the glass, a dark, shifting shape against the faint starlight. A shadow. A hulking, dark shadow, impossibly tall, leaning forward over the front of the car as if it were peering in at me. It was taller than any human I could imagine, its form indistinct but undeniably present. A wave of pure terror washed over me. I felt dizzy, my vision blurring at the edges. My mind just couldn't process what I was seeing. A primal scream tore from my throat, raw and uncontrolled. Without thinking, I slammed my foot on the brakes with all the strength I could muster. The tires shrieked against the asphalt. The car skidded violently, turning sideways before coming to an abrupt, jarring halt in the middle of the empty road. The engine stalled, and then a terrible, deafening silence descended once more. The scraping, the tapping, the feeling of presence, it was all gone. I sat there, frozen, my body trembling, my own ragged breathing the only sound in the suffocating stillness. My scream still echoed in my ears. I slowly, cautiously, forced myself to look around. There was nothing. No shadow on the windshield. No sound from the roof. Just me, my stalled car, and the vast, indifferent wilderness. I don't know how long I sat there, paralyzed by fear. It felt like an eternity. Eventually, the The survival instinct kicked in. I had to get out of there. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely turn the key in the ignition. After a few agonizing attempts, the engine sputtered back to life. I didn't waste a second. I threw the car into drive and sped away, not daring to look back, my eyes glued to the road ahead. The rest of the drive is a blur. I don't remember the hours passing. All I remember is the overwhelming feeling of being watched. The journey that should have taken maybe another 2 hours felt endless. When the first distant lights of the city appeared on the horizon, it was like the sun rising after a long, dark night of the soul. I've never been so relieved to see streetlights and buildings in my entire life. The next morning, in the safety of the daylight, I forced myself to inspect my car. I told myself it was all a dream, a hallucination brought on by fatigue. But then I saw them. On the roof of the car, etched deep into the paint and the metal itself, were 3 long, parallel scratches. They were deep, jagged, and unlike anything a tree branch or road debris could have made. They looked like they'd been gouged out by something immensely strong, something with claws. I never reported it. Who would I tell? What would I say? That a giant shadow creature crawled on my car? They would think I was insane. I had the roof repaired immediately, wanting to erase any physical evidence, to pretend it never happened. But I can't erase the memory. I don't know what that thing was. I don't know what it wanted, but I know it was real. And I know it was right there, just inches above my head, in the dark, on that lonely road. That's why I don't look at the night sky anymore. Because sometimes, I feel like something might be looking back. Thanks for listening. Be safe out there, and maybe stick to well-lit roads.